The Delta variant of the coronavirus now makes up 1 in 5 cases in the U.S. We go in depth about the risks it poses to unvaccinated people and why San Diego County says it has no plans to change its mask recommendations to prevent further spread.
Plus, there are growing concerns over the death rate in San Diego County jails, the change local activists are now demanding.
And a new bill could move up California's recall election, why Democrats say it could help Governor Gavin Newsom and the response it's generating from the GOP.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
San Diego County is not changing mask guidelines despite the spread of the Delta variant across the U.S. Good evening, I'm Lindsay Pena.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. The Delta variant was first detected in India and is believed to be the most aggressive and contagious strain of the COVID-19 virus seen so far. In response, the Los Angeles County Health Department is urging everyone, regardless of their vaccination status, to wear masks indoors in public places. Our ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl is going in depth on the risks.
Just 2 weeks after California lifted its mask mandate for the vaccinated, LA County is changing its guidance, strongly recommending that everyone mask up in grocery stores, shopping centers, and other public indoor spaces. LA County Public Health says it's all because of a rise in the Delta variant, locally and across the country.
It really is not so much about protecting the people who are vaccinated, but it's about keeping the spread low within the community so it doesn't get to people who are not vaccinated and to people that the vaccine didn't work for. Studies show the vaccines remain highly effective against Delta, which was first found in India. An English study found 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine were 96% effective at preventing hospitalization from Delta and 88% effective at preventing symptoms.
So vaccines are working, but for unvaccinated folks, this is probably one of the most dangerous times.
UC San Francisco's Dr. Peter Chin-Hong says that's because the Delta variant is about twice as contagious as the original version. Contact tracing in Singapore shows vaccinated people can still spread it. And after a few cases at a mall in Australia, health officials there say they believe just 5 to 10 seconds of exposure is enough to infect someone. Experts say the Delta variant uses several tricks to make itself more transmissible, largely because of 7 mutations on its spike protein. Those mutations allow the spike protein of the virus to better interact with the receptors in our cells. And that better interaction means that it takes fewer of them to get in. UC San Diego virologist Dr. Davey Smith says once inside, Delta makes more copies of itself than older versions and sheds from the body longer, adding to its infectiousness and probably making it more severe too.
Certainly, studies in the UK, Scotland, India suggest increased probability of hospitalization, but it's still unclear whether or not that means more serious disease. Across the country, Delta is now responsible for 1 out of every 5 infections, double what it was the week before. In California, Delta is the 3rd most common variant, behind the ones first detected in the UK and Brazil, but experts think it's on track to take over soon. LA County says Delta accounted for nearly half of the recent cases there, but it is more rare in San Diego County. As of last week, San Diego had detected just 16 cases. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
The County Board of Supervisors Chair Nathan Fletcher says that San Diego County will continue to monitor the Delta variant, but as of now, he says the county does not anticipate changing its mask guidance. He said 95% of the infections from Delta, they have been in unvaccinated people.
With the Delta variant causing growing concerns and children under 12 not vaccinated, should parents be worried about sending their kids back to school in the fall? We posed that question this morning to Dr. Jen Ashton, Chief Medical Correspondent for ABC News.
And that depends. It depends on the health of the child, who's at home, what's going on in their community, whether or not their child becomes eligible for a vaccine. And remember that we have to take a big picture view of this. It's not just about avoiding COVID. There are other circulating infectious diseases that parents have to be concerned with.
Dr. Ashton says data has shown a school classroom environment is generally a low-risk setting for COVID transmission. And you can keep up with any developments surrounding the pandemic by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
Community leaders are calling for change inside San Diego County Jail, citing an alarming death rate. Our ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner is live outside the Las Colinas Women's Jail in Santee, where activists are demanding a state audit to investigate these deaths. Jen.
Yeah, that's right. They're hoping to put pressure on the state to conduct an audit. It was here at Las Colinas where a young woman died in 2019, and her family says it didn't have to happen. This is just one of the faces of inmates who've died in San Diego County jails. The attorney for Alyssa Cerna said Tuesday that a wrongful death suit is still pending, which alleges that jail staff ignored the 24-year-old's signs of distress.
She started having ailments, and that she was neglected by the sheriff and the medical personnel there.
Even if someone is guilty, or even if someone has been convicted of a crime, their sentence was not death. And we're seeing that what's happening in our jails is effectively a death sentence.
Tuesday, community leaders called attention to concerns over the death rate in San Diego County jails.
We have the highest in-custody death rate in the state compared to other counties our same size.
Standing outside of Las Colinas Women's Jail in Santee, they asked for further investigation.
We strongly support the request for a state audit because up until now, there has been absolutely no accountability, no transparency.
Wednesday afternoon at the state capitol, a joint legislative audit committee hearing on San Diego's jail deaths is scheduled to take place.
We need to get to the bottom of this. A lot of families are suffering.
Tuesday afternoon, the Cerna family attorney told ABC 10 News they don't want any other family to experience the grief of losing a child in this manner, and they fervently hope that the DA will pursue criminal charges, and they encourage the state to conduct an audit. And the San Diego County Sheriff's Department, which runs the jail, sent a statement to us late this afternoon. Part of that statement reads, "Our department has implemented comprehensive security, mental health, and medical screening procedures to provide the highest quality care to our population and to reduce deaths in custody." Reporting live tonight from Santee, Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
Jen, thank you. Dozens of people are facing drug trafficking, money laundering, and firearm charges here in San Diego. Those charges were announced today at the federal courthouse downtown. 60 people are accused of smuggling thousands of kilos of methamphetamine from the Sinaloa cartel. Investigators say that they shipped them around the U.S. by any means necessary, even FedEx. Agents showed off the dozens of guns and high-powered firearms seized in that operation.
I think there's no doubt in anyone's mind that drug trafficking and gun possession go hand in hand. Because drug traffickers do not resort to legal means to settle disputes, the tools of their trade are exactly what you see before you today.
DEA agents say that they went undercover to infiltrate the San Diego-based network. Agents say that most of the 60 people who are accused are now in custody.
The San Diego Unified School District is making changes ahead of the next school year. In addition to adding more staff, more mental health services will be available to students when they return to campus this fall. It's part of an agreement reached with the teachers union. I spoke with board president Richard Barrera today about those changes. When school starts this fall, teachers and staff in the San Diego Unified School District can expect a 4% raise.
It's something that we strive for because if we want to recruit and retain, the best teachers, the best school employees, our compensation has to be competitive.
San Diego Unified Board President Richard Barrera says the raises are among the changes included in a new agreement reached between the district and the teachers union. SDUSD will also be hiring nearly 90 new elementary teachers to reduce class size.
That is a proven strategy to help kids get where they need to be early on. And it's a great prevention strategy.
The plan also sets aside money to hire more full-time nurses and add a dozen psychologists to the staff.
Coming out of the pandemic, we know that the mental health, social, and emotional issues are the most important set of issues that we need to help our students, through the recovery from the pandemic.
Barrera says there will be signing bonuses for certain positions that can be tough to fill, like special education teachers. The goal is to have the new staff in place by the new school year.
Recruitment is a big emphasis for us this summer.
That new agreement between the teachers union and the district does still need to be finalized, but Barrera says that should happen soon. San Diego Unified expects to return completely to in-person learning in the fall.
There is a new twist in the upcoming recall election for Governor Gavin Newsom. Last night, lawmakers passed a bill aimed at moving up the recall date. We're taking an in-depth look at why they did it and the response. That bill passed the Assembly and State Senate and was signed by the governor. It allows the election to take place at least 30 days earlier than under the existing law by bypassing the legislative review process and providing funds to counties and the Secretary of State for the election. It's estimated that the recall election, will cost $215 million. But Republicans are accusing Democrats of changing the playing field, including gubernatorial candidate John Cox.
I think they want some action. They want somebody to do something about these problems instead of all the grandstanding and the political gamesmanship.
Democrats argue that Californians want this process to be over with already. With no legislative review, the lieutenant governor will now be able to set an election date sooner, and we could learn that date by Friday. County clerks have said that they need until at least mid-September to be ready for this. In the meantime, Governor Newsom is now suing his own Secretary of State, Shirley Weber, for refusing to correct his lawyer's filing mistake that could result in him appearing on the ballot without Democratic Party next to his name. Weber's office said it has a duty to accept timely filed documents, and anything after the deadline requires judicial resolution.
In Florida, a massive search and rescue operation entered its 6th day today as crews continued to carefully comb through the pile of debris in hopes of finding survivors. At least 12 people are dead and 149 others remain unaccounted for after a residential building partially collapsed. As ABC's Morgan Norwood explains, no one is giving up hope.
The painstaking search entering day 6, more than 200 rescuers on top of the pile at any given moment. More victims identified, dozens more still unaccounted for, leaving families in agony.
It's been very heartbreaking and very touching because there's a lot of folks who've have been experiencing some unbelievable pain.
Workers racing around the clock, powering through 12-hour shifts in treacherous conditions. One worker falling 25 feet to the rubble below. The torrential downpours threatening efforts. Meanwhile, we're hearing from a resident of Champlain Towers South who narrowly escaped the tragedy. Eric Demora telling ABC's Victor Oquendo he was supposed to be home Wednesday night when his girlfriend convinced him to stay over.
We don't control anything, and I know that more than ever. But it was her decision for me to stay. That saved my life.
Federal authorities continue to examine the wreckage for clues into what led up to the partial collapse. The Wall Street Journal publishing a letter it says was sent by the condo board president to residents back in April, warning that $15 million in significant repairs were needed and that the building had deteriorated since that 2018 report. President Joe Biden and the First Lady will visit Surfside on Thursday. They're expected to meet with first responders and families of the victims. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Miami Beach, Florida.